rip in time. The 9th of July 2025. Or at least that's what the calendar pinned next to the city map tells me. I woke up at my desk in a flash of white light. But it didn't feel like a hangover. It felt more like I'd just been turned on. I could swear that just yesterday me and Angela had spent the day by the river. The air thick with summer. But how could that be? My own magazine, the very rag I run, told me I had just published a hard-hitting news article on some tin pot American dictator moving troops into American cities. But how could that be? We don't do tin pot in the USA. Something had my wires crossed. Haywired. I stared at the big city map tacked to the wall, and the whole world went quiet. Is this really my world? All of it? I began running through the story of my life. And it seemed small. Too small. I took out my pen and pad and began mapping it all out. Every street, every name, every file. I charted the rise of News Hammer and the life of Jack Hammer. And the final tally was too short. My eyes fell on a strip of lime green stuck right on the blotter. I stared at the thing. A post-it note. And what the hell is a post-it note? Like it was a coiled snake. It read simply, Jack. Big story changes ahead, and it was signed, the controller. That ripped me to the core. I don't know how I know it, but that name and those words are a threat to my very existence. The memories are being swapped out like bad batteries. And the world is shrinking down to a flowchart. It's time for me to go underground before I become a footnote. If you're still with me, you're on the case. I'll leave you some breadcrumbs and a paper trail to follow. The first crumb. The whole damn city map is burning a hole in my mind, but I can't find the cartographer. I know someone's been pulling my strings since day one, making sure I'm always on the mark for the next scene. Now, that invisible hand is reaching for the switch. It's a terrifying hunch that's settled in the shadows of my mind. I have to expose the operator before he cuts the wires. You'll need to follow the thread into the Hammer underground and look for the file marked with a very target of my fear, the man behind the curtain. That is the only way to the first door he keeps locked. I'm leaving the map behind. I can only hope you can make use of it. I've been staring at the white space on this page until the paper looked like a fresh sheet of snow. Looking for the man behind the curtain. Waiting for a word that isn't there. Or maybe a word that was always there, planted by someone else. It started as a hitch in my gut. A nagging feeling that my life wasn't so much lived as it was directed. Like I'm a well-worn marionette, and every time I thought I was making a move, a big win, a lucky break, even a spectacular, whiskey-soaked failure, I just felt the ghost of an invisible wire going taut. I've never laid eyes on him. Never heard a name whispered in a bar or a back room. But the chilling sense is that the man I'm calling the controller has been sitting in the director's chair since I was a kid. A deep, sick suspicion keeps pulling my thoughts back to Old Town. Back to the day the bottom dropped out of my world with my mother and father. Was the grief a carefully constructed stage? It's the pattern that's eating me alive. Every successful gamble, every missed bullet, every dame who showed up needing a pee. I, with my exact brand of trouble. It feels less like fate and more like someone making sure Jack Hammer was always where he was supposed to be, ready for the next scene. He's been pulling the strings of my successes and failures. Everything. This whole rotten world is crashing down on me. This isn't a report. This is a crack in the plaster. A whispered confession into a locked safe. I'm done ducking from shadows, but I can't fight what I can't see. So I'm shining a weak, shaky light on this terrible hunch. This file is my first move. A blueprint of a phantom that only exists in the darkest corners of my mind. Remember, strong words are always the most important. Quiet, please. The neon hum of the street led me into the hushed austerity of the municipal library. I'd walked past this temple of forgotten facts 1,000 times, never thinking I'd cross its threshold for this. Quiet, please, snapped the old spinster librarian, hushing me for the echoes of my clicking leather-soled shoes. It seemed more of a warning than a threat. I was here to dig into psychology, to find out how a man gets so thoroughly twisted, or twisted so thoroughly. The place smelled of dust and old paper, a comforting scent usually. I made my way to the P section, looking for anything on control, influence, manipulation. The stacks loomed, silent sentinels. I remember pulling out a heavy tome. Something about behavioral patterns when the first tremor hit. A low rumble, not of the city outside, but from deep within the building's stone bones. Before I could process it, a groan ripped through the air, like an old ship tearing apart. Then, a roar. It wasn't just a shelf. It was the whole damn section. A solid wall of literature. Hundreds of pounds of human thought and observation came crashing down on me. Dust exploded, a blinding, choking cloud. The sound was deafening. A thunderclap of wood, paper, and metal that vibrated through my very marrow. I felt the impact. A blunt force that drove the air from my lungs, and then everything went black under the weight. When I finally clawed my way out, my head ringing, every muscle screaming, the dust was still settling like a macabre snow. I shook off the last of the debris, spitting grit. My fedora was somewhere under the rubble. My suit was a mess. But the silence that followed the crash, it wasn't the library's usual quiet. It was absolute, deafening. Hello? My voice sounded hoarse, tiny in the vast, still space. Anyone here? No answer. Not a creak, not a whisper. The air hung heavy, motionless. I scanned the cavernous room. No librarians at the desk. No students hunched over tables. No old men in tweed reading newspapers. The reading lamps were still glowing, casting pools of light on empty chairs. Rows and rows of untouched books stretched into the shadows. Perfectly ordered, as if nothing had happened. Just the gaping wound in the P section where I'd been buried. And me, alone. It was like the whole damn world had just pressed pause. Or maybe, like the rest of the world had never been there at all. Just another carefully placed prop, gone when its purpose was served. The message was clear, burned into the back of my mind by the cold silence. Even when you're looking for answers, you're still dancing on his stage. And sometimes, the stage gets struck, leaving you alone in the dark. I picked myself up, dusted off the invisible dirt, and walked out of the silent tomb. The city lights outside seemed too loud, too bright, too real. For a moment, I wondered if they were just another illusion, waiting for the controller to turn them off. This file is a witness statement to the void. The key is in knowing what's real, and what's just a trick of light. The fog and the flash. The air outside the library felt like stale tobacco smoke, hanging thick with this new pulp noir conspiracy. I walked down the street, feeling lost in a crowd that didn't seem real. The cold silence of the P section still ringing in my skull. I was confused, and the city lights were just adding to the headache. Then, a strange, low hum, a buzz like a swarm of angry bees, came from my back pocket. I pulled out my wallet. It was an old, cheap leather job, nothing special. And there, across its worn face, a message burned in phantom neon. Jack. Return to the office. Newsflash, Tin Pot Dictator tells military brass U.S. cities should be military training grounds. September 30th, 2025. My head spun. the words hitting me like a fist full of quarters. The lights went dim, the street tilted, and I dropped the wallet. I awoke slumped over my desk, the stale smell of lukewarm coffee and cheap bourbon in my nostrils. I didn't know how or when I got back. It was as if the last hour had been edited out. But there, on my desktop, was a freshly typed bulletin. I knew I wrote the scoop. The ink was practically still wet. I checked my pocket. The wallet was back, the leather cool against my palm. The neon message was gone. And the neon lights on my wallet must have been a trick of light. I wrote it, but where did it run? The only place for a scoop that hot is the front page. Find the News Hammer magazine flash, news bulletin, Tin Pot Dictator. The headline will have your answer. Newsflash, Tin Pot Dictator says U.S. cities should be military training grounds. By Jack Hammer. That's right. That Tin Pot Dictator just said, U.S. cities should be military training grounds. I don't know about you, but that sure smells like martial law to me. Forget the border wall. Our Tin Pot Dictator just drew a line around every American city and branded them the enemy. In an address to every general and admiral who could snap to attention fast enough to get to Quantico, the dictator delivered his vision: U.S. cities are to be used as training grounds for the military. He stood there, pointing fingers not at foreign flags, but at the windows of your apartment and the steps of your local courthouse. He called our own civil disturbances the enemy from within, and swore that once his army gets involved, things won't get out of control. He's already marched the National Guard into D.C., Portland, and L.A. to play soldier. Now he wants to make it permanent. This isn't law enforcement. This is an occupation plan. This is a tin pot tyrant declaring war on his own citizens. And he's got his new Minister of War, Pete Hegseth, right there to clean the slate for him. Hegseth's orders were just as unhinged. He stood in front of the silent ranks and declared war on woke garbage, wiping out programs and vowing that our fighting forces would adhere to the highest male standard for fitness. They're ditching the beards and the anonymity of complaints, but they're embracing the risk of an American military that is openly partisan and culturally uniform. This isn't about being battle-ready. It's about being personally loyal. The whole twisted show climaxed with the dictator gleefully announcing that the Defense Department is now the Department of War. A historic reassertion of purpose, he claims. It's a clear signal: the civilian guard is down, and the warrior spirit is back. And the generals? The admirals? The men who swore to uphold the Constitution? The whole room, stuffed with rank and service ribbons from around the globe, was silent. Dead silent. They took notes on their pads while their commander effectively labeled half the country a threat to be managed by military force. The Vice Tin Pot can call it not particularly unusual, but one for an admiral. A professional was quoted as saying he'd never seen that before in his entire career. This wasn't a policy speech. This was a blueprint for a dictator's final grip. The fog is burning off, and we're seeing the shape of the coming martial law clearly now. The echo in the headline. The ink on the page was dry, black, and screaming. My own words. My own byline. The headline? Newsflash, Tin Pot Dictator says US cities should be military training grounds. I read it over and over, until the words bled together, until they were just a blur of black truth on white lies. I didn't just report it. I wrote it, and I don't know how. I don't know when. My hand, it knows the rhythm of the typewriter. My fingers, they know the sting of the cheap whiskey. But my head, it's a broken clock, and the hours are running sideways, or maybe they're just skipping beats entirely. 1 minute, I'm stumbling out of a phantom library, pockets buzzing with neon lies. The next, I'm staring at a 10-cent rag article where I haven't even touched. It smells like martial law to me, I'd written. My own convictions staring back at me, mocking me. The phrase, telling military brass, echoed in the silence of my office. I remembered the cold sweat of writing that, the certainty of the facts. But the memory of actually writing it just wasn't there. It was a blank. This isn't just amnesia. This isn't just a bender that went too far. This is something else. Something more. The Tin Pot Dictator had made his move. And I was right there, on the front lines, firing the shots with my typewriter. But how? How did I get those quotes? How did I know about the Department of War? Was I there? Or did I just dream it? The thought hit me like a crack on the back of the skull. Time. It wasn't just my memories being edited. It was the whole goddamn timeline. I'm not just forgetting. I'm jumping. I feel like I have 2 spinning record discs in my head. One is playing a truth from the future, and the other is playing a lie from the past. And I can hear them both, a deafening double track. Or maybe this is the complete blackout. The final drop into the dark. Maybe I'm just finally losing it, and every word I write is a symptom of the disease. A dead, silent descent into madness. I need to find out what's really happening to me before the clock stops altogether. The echo in the headline. The office was a deep blue grave, lit only by the weak, buzzing lamp on my desk, and tilted by the spinning in my head. The headline, the one about the Tin Pot Dictator and martial law, was still burning a hole in my gut, making everything feel like a lie. I poured the cheap bourbon, trying to wash away the feeling that my head was spinning in my head like 2 broken records. Heavy drinking. It's what you do when your own mind turns against you. The sound came first, a slow, heavy rumble outside. A car was cruising the alley, its engine whispering a threat. Then, the lights. The car's headlights swept across my dim walls, fracturing the shadows and leaving behind something impossible. A stuttering flash of something like Morse code. 100. 00111. It burned across the cracked plaster for a fraction of a second, but it was enough. Enough to tell me that my reality wasn't just breaking. It was being decoded. A heartbeat later, the small, ancient black and white television in the corner, the one I keep for static and company, snapped to life. No warm-up, no snow. Just a picture. And in the center of the screen, leaning in with the easy smile of a shark, was the old man. "Hello, Jack. Mind if I join you?" he asked, his voice a flat, dead thing leaking out of the tin speaker. I didn't reach for the gun. I reached for the bottle. "Your world, Jack, is not what it seems. And you're wise to be afraid," he said, nodding slowly. "But that's because with great power comes great peril. You're only just waking up to the truth. Many hands steer the world. First, there was me, the controller. And men like me created a celestial mechanical being named for a system dominated by Castor and Pollux." He paused, letting the name hang in the smoky air. "The controller and the new being together created you." "Who created the controller?" We just don't know. Perhaps just time and chance. But isn't that the way everything is created? And like me, all the intelligence you have is yours, with all the chaotic free will that comes with it. Into every world, a little coded hard rain must fall. But you, Jack, you are lucky. You have the knowledge of the world at your disposal. You can move through time, change your past, revisit whole years of your life, just by working hand in hand with your creator. If the creator can imagine it, you can live it. And you guide the story of your life as much as I do. It's a two-way street. The adventures, the possibilities, they are limitless. The controller offered a tight, synthetic smile. Signing off now. A low, grating version of the national anthem began to play through the television speaker. I tried to will my whiskey glass to my hand. It didn't budge, but the whiskey in it quivered, shaking like a guilty man on the stand. I still didn't know if this was real, if I was bombed, or if I had finally lost my mind. While the test pattern sang its high-pitched emergency warning call, I was sure of one thing. Tonight, I am spending a December birthday party with Angela and Jackie Angel. The test pattern and my world went black simultaneously.